going to talk about Chennedy Carter, but it looks like she's blacklisted. And she will be playing professional basketball during the season, but it won't be for the WNBA.
Could targeting the WNBA's brightest new star possibly be worth sacrificing your entire career in the league? It's a question that hangs heavy in the air, and Chennedy Carter's bewildering path over the last year seems to provide a chillingly clear answer. Just months ago, she was the leading scorer for the Chicago Sky, a potent offensive weapon. Today, she's preparing to play professional basketball not under the bright lights of the WNBA, but south of the border in Mexico. She wasn't traded, she wasn't bought out. After more than 120 days of deafening silence from every single WNBA team during free agency, she simply wasn't wanted. How does a player with undeniable talent coming off a career-best season find herself completely ostracized, effectively blacklisted from the world's premier women's basketball league? The unraveling involves a moment of shocking aggression, 7 unforgettable words that ignited a firestorm, and a pattern of behavior that finally reached a breaking point under the intense glare of the national spotlight.
Seriously, she needs to do whatever she can to get some help, get her anger under control, where she will not have another incident like the one where she slammed into Caitlin Clark. She's out of the league.
The date was June 1st, 2024. The Chicago Sky were battling the Indiana Fever in what should have been just another regular season contest. The game itself was tight, a nail-biter eventually won by the Fever 71-70, meaning tensions were already simmering. But amidst the usual flow of play, one incident detonated, eclipsing everything else. As players moved up the court following a sky basket, there was a brief moment where Chennedy Carter and the sensational rookie Caitlin Clark crossed paths near mid-court, away from the immediate action. What happened next wasn't accidental contact or a clumsy mistake in transition. Video replays showed Carter, seemingly aware of Clark's position, make a distinct, deliberate change in her trajectory. She veered sharply and leveled Clark with a forceful hip check, a blindside hit that sent the Fever guard sprawling hard onto the hardwood floor. The arena drew a collective breath. Commentators on the live broadcast momentarily lost their game analysis, voices shifting to disbelief. "What was that?" echoed the immediate sentiment. Adding another layer of controversy, cameras caught Carter's teammate Angel Reese on the sidelines, visibly jumping up and clapping enthusiastically the instant Clark hit the floor, an action many interpreted as celebrating the aggressive, non-basketball play against the league's burgeoning superstar. Officials blew the whistle immediately, initially assessing it as a common away-from-the-ball foul. However, the blatant nature of the contact demanded closer scrutiny.
Despite the solid fourth season from Carter, an incident with Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark stood out to many. The 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year came in the league, became arguably the most popular player. There, I cleaned it up for you, which may have rubbed some people the wrong way, including Carter.
Following a review and further league examination the next day, the foul was upgraded to a flagrant 1 penalty. This wasn't just a hard foul anymore, it was officially deemed unnecessary and excessive contact, confirming what many viewers felt instantly. This was outside the bounds of competitive basketball. Yet, as shocking as the physical act itself was, it might have been survivable professionally. What truly propelled the situation into career-threatening territory was Carter's reaction, or lack thereof, when the game ended.
So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and the rest of the folks. And then we get to the body check. This was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but it was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue. And it was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy's part.
In the aftermath of any controversial on-court incident, the post-game press conference becomes a crucial stage. It's an opportunity for players to offer context, show remorse, explain their actions, or simply attempt to de-escalate the situation. For Chennedy Carter, facing a barrage of questions about the hip check on Caitlin Clark, this was her chance to potentially mitigate the damage. One well-phrased apology, even a simple acknowledgement of the play's severity, might have shifted the narrative. Reporters gave her the opening, directly asking her to address the moment that had already gone viral. Instead of contrition or explanation, Carter leaned into the microphone and delivered a response that would become infamous, echoing far beyond the basketball world. "I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions." 7 simple words, dripping with defiance and dismissal. That stark refusal to engage, to even acknowledge the incident involving the league's most talked about player, acted like high-octane fuel poured onto an already raging fire. The contrast with Caitlin Clark's handling of the situation couldn't have been more pronounced. When asked about the hit, Clark, despite being the one knocked to the floor, responded with poise, stating, "Basketball's competitive, I get it. Emotions get the best of you. It happened to me too." One player demonstrated maturity and perspective, the other projected arrogance and a startling lack of accountability. Carter's 7 words transformed the story from a debate about a flagrant foul into a widespread indictment of her character and professionalism. The outrage intensified, spreading like wildfire across social media, sports talk shows, and crucially, within the corridors of WNBA power. Section 3. Internal fallout and league freeze-out.
It's one thing pushing Caitlin Clark, and it's another thing blindsiding her. Like, I don't think there's no justification for that. Like, to be honest, we can be honest here.
Something's got to wake her up too. You know, I mean, something's got to wake her up and say, "Man, I could be in the WNBA right now, starting on a team, being their leading scorer. I've got to get my temper and my head under control. I got to figure it out somehow."
The fallout from Carter's on-court actions and her subsequent press conference defiance wasn't just confined to angry fans or critical sports analysts. The repercussions began to ripple inwards, affecting her own team dynamics and her standing across the league. Whispers quickly emerged suggesting that Carter's handling of the incident, particularly her refusal to address it responsibly, had created significant friction within the Chicago Sky locker room. Teammates and coaching staff were reportedly unhappy, not just with the foul itself, but with the way Carter's attitude reflected poorly on the entire organization. In professional team sports, chemistry and trust are vital currencies, often just as important as raw talent. When one player acts in a way perceived as detrimental to the team's image and refuses to take ownership, it can fracture that essential cohesion. This internal unease seemed to mirror a growing sentiment among executives league-wide. The question shifted from, "Can she help us win games?" to, "Is her talent worth the potential disruption?" Carter's skills were never in doubt. She could score efficiently and often, but teams began weighing that against the perceived baggage. This sentiment was starkly captured when an anonymous WNBA general manager was quoted in the media saying, "Regarding the possibility of signing Carter, we won't touch her even with a 10-foot pole." That kind of statement, even off the record, speaks volumes about how toxic her reputation had become in league circles. She was being labeled radioactive, a tag that signals a player is considered too problematic to sign regardless of their on-court abilities. The combination of the flagrant foul, the defiant response, and the reported internal issues was painting a picture of a player who many decision-makers deemed simply too risky. Months later, however, with her WNBA career prospects looking increasingly bleak, Carter would make a baffling attempt to rewrite the narrative.
That she knocked Caitlin Clark to the floor. We all saw it, a flagrant foul. And many people, including myself, thought it was borderline assault. It was awful.
For nearly a year after the infamous hip check and the subsequent press conference blow-up, Chennedy Carter maintained public silence on the specifics of the incident. Then, seemingly out of the blue, she appeared on a controversial online podcast, deciding it was finally time to offer her version of events. Her explanation, the collision that sent Caitlin Clark sprawling, the one deemed a flagrant one foul by the league, was merely a light tap. Yes, you heard that right. Carter attempted to reframe the entire incident, suggesting there might have been some trash talk from Clark on a previous play, plays before things are said, maybe an elbow exchanged. I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. And then after Carter scored, she simply gave Clark a little nudge. Just give her like a little "like I'm here." She even drew comparisons to minor physical altercations in the NBA, like players pushing LeBron James out of frustration, trying to normalize her actions as standard competitive intensity. This revisionist history was met with widespread disbelief and further criticism.
And then Chennedy just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that moment between you and Caitlin. What was that play, what was said, and kind of what led to.
Next question. getting to play before Caitlin. It seemed like she turned to you a little bit.
Yeah.
After the
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good.
Hundreds of replays clearly showed Carter altering her path to initiate forceful off-ball contact. Describing it as a light tap felt disingenuous at best and utterly delusional at worst. The timing of this explanation was also highly suspect. Why break her silence now, months after the incident, long after any apology might have carried weight, and with an explanation that seemed designed to absolve her of any real wrongdoing? Many observers interpreted it as a calculated, albeit clumsy, attempt at image rehabilitation, perhaps spurred by the harsh reality of her dwindling professional options. Instead of demonstrating growth or accountability, the light tap defense only seemed to reinforce the perception that Carter was unwilling or unable to genuinely own up to her actions, further damaging her already fragile reputation.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just like, just respond, calm down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and then execute on offense, and I feel like that's kind of what we did, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
For casual fans, the Caitlin Clark incident might have been their introduction to Chennedy Carter's controversial side. But for WNBA insiders, team executives, and coaches, the events of June 2024 likely felt less like a shocking aberration and more like the latest, most public chapter in a concerning pattern of behavior. Carter's professional journey, even before arriving in Chicago, was marked by significant disciplinary issues that had already raised red flags across the league. Rewind to 2021 during her time with the Atlanta Dream. Midway through her sophomore season, the team abruptly suspended Carter indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team. While the exact nature of the conduct was never publicly detailed, it reportedly stemmed from an argument or altercation that disrupted team harmony. Suspending a young talented player mid-season is a serious step, signaling significant internal problems. Following that turbulent stint in Atlanta, Carter was traded to the Los Angeles Sparks. Hopes for a fresh start seemed to dim quickly. Reports surfaced again, this time suggesting that despite her scoring ability, Carter received reduced playing time under the Sparks coaching staff specifically due to poor conduct. It was another polite phrasing for behavioral issues impacting her role on the team. Coaches were seemingly prioritizing team cohesion and culture over maximizing Carter's offensive minutes. This recurring theme, undeniable talent consistently overshadowed by temperament and disciplinary problems, created a narrative around Carter that is notoriously difficult for any professional athlete to overcome. By the time she landed with the Chicago Sky, the whispers about her being potentially difficult or disruptive had grown louder. This history undoubtedly factored into how league decision-makers viewed the Clark incident and its aftermath. It wasn't just one mistake, but potentially confirmation of a deeply ingrained pattern.
And there has not been a peep about anywhere that she could be landing in this free agency. So a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is she worth the risk now?
I mean, she can score with the lights out. I mean, she's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, an instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't.
Perhaps the most stunning indictment of Chennedy Carter's standing within the WNBA came after her statistically brilliant 2024 season with the Chicago Sky. By all on-court metrics, she should have been a sought-after commodity. She led the Sky in scoring, averaging a career-high 17.5 points per game while shooting an impressive 47.3% from the field across 33 games, the most she'd played in a single season. Players with that kind of offensive production, especially efficient wing scorers, are typically prime candidates for contract extensions or lucrative free agent deals. Yet, the Chicago Sky made an almost unprecedented decision regarding their leading scorer. They chose not to extend her a qualifying offer. In practical terms, this meant they weren't even making the minimum formal offer required to potentially match offers from other teams or retain certain rights. They simply let her walk away, becoming an unrestricted free agent, receiving absolutely nothing in compensation for their top offensive player.
Can you break down that situation that happened?
Yeah. So, in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
plays before things are said. You know, that's a part of basketball.
Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks, the Los Angeles Sparks.
This wasn't a salary cap issue or a strategic basketball decision. It was a loud and clear statement about team culture and values. The Sky effectively signaled to the entire league that, in their assessment, Carter's scoring contributions were outweighed by the off-court baggage and potential disruption she brought. What followed was perhaps even more telling. As Carter entered the free agent market, the silence from the other 11 WNBA teams was absolute. Day after day, week after week, for over 120 days, as rosters filled up and training camps approached, not a single team extended Chennedy Carter a contract offer. In a league constantly searching for scoring talent, the complete lack of interest was extraordinary and spoke volumes about how Carter was perceived by every single front office. The door to the WNBA had slammed shut.
She did. She stopped and went through. Like, oh. Like, that is not... We watched the clip. There is no way that we're letting this happen. Like, saying that it was nothing, like this is not just a tap.
During the 2024 WNBA season, guard Chennedy Carter emerged as a key player for the Chicago Sky, leading the team in scoring with 17.5 points per game, a career high. She would still be probably their best pure offensive weapon if she was still on that team. Now, there's a world where Camila Cardoso, and I've said this, will be their best player this year, provided they allow her to ball, or provided Angel Reese gets the hell out of the way, one of the two.
Facing a complete freeze-out from the WNBA with training camps starting and no contract offers on the table, Chennedy Carter had to look elsewhere to continue her professional basketball career. Her destination confirmed the dramatic shift in her fortunes. She signed a contract with Adelita de Chihuahua, a team competing in Mexico's Liga Nacional de Baloncesto Profesional Femenil, LNBPF. The Mexican team enthusiastically announced her signing on social media, highlighting her WNBA experience and scoring achievements. Joining her on the Adelitas roster is another familiar name to WNBA fans, former Indiana Fever guard Victoria Vivians, who also found herself seeking opportunities outside the WNBA after a brief stint with Seattle. While the LNBPF offers Carter a platform to play, showcase her skills, and earn a living, it represents an undeniable and significant step down from the WNBA in terms of global prestige, media exposure, level of competition, and salary potential. This move wasn't a strategic choice for international experience, it was a move born of necessity, a direct consequence of being shut out from the league she had played in for 4 seasons. Could she dominate in Mexico? Given her talent level, it's highly likely, but her presence there underscores her current exile from the highest level of women's basketball. It transforms her from a leading scorer in the world's best league into a big fish in a smaller pond, far from the spotlight she commanded just 1 year prior.
I mean, that happens, man. Like, it's one of those things. I'm a great player, she's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's gonna have their views on it. But my personal view is, you know, I don't have anything against her. She's a great player, and so am I. And I've got buckets all that season, you know what I'm saying? So, just one of those things that, I love it though. They think I hate it, I love it. I love when it gets riled up and juicy like that.
You feed off of like what people say and shit, and it makes you more motivated.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Oh yeah, I love the hate. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As Chennedy Carter embarks on her new chapter in Chihuahua, the league she left behind continues its remarkable surge in popularity and cultural relevance, largely propelled by the very player at the center of Carter's most infamous moment. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are not just playing basketball, they are redefining viewership metrics, packing arenas, and driving merchandise sales to unprecedented heights. The WNBA itself seems to be undergoing a transformation, not just in its public profile, but potentially in its internal values. Carter's effective exile, despite her proven scoring ability and relatively young age, 26, serves as a stark case study. It strongly suggests that in today's WNBA, exceptional talent might no longer be sufficient to excuse or overlook significant character concerns, patterns of disruptive behavior, or actions that damage the league's image. Professionalism, accountability, and team cohesion appear to be increasingly prioritized alongside points per game. The message seems clear: skill without character may no longer cut it. For Chennedy Carter, the future is uncertain. Is this stint in Mexico a temporary detour, a chance to regroup and potentially earn her way back into the WNBA's good graces someday? Or does it represent a permanent departure from the pinnacle of women's basketball, a harsh consequence she ultimately brought upon herself? Does a player of her talent deserve this effective blacklisting, or is it a necessary measure by a league striving to uphold higher standards? The answers remain complex, but her story stands as a cautionary tale echoing through the rapidly evolving landscape of professional sports.